This episode is brought to you by pastasworld.com, where you can find jigsaw puzzles, coffee and tea mugs, canvas and poster prints, iPhone cases, and more. You can even order custom items with your own pictures. Go to pastasworld.com or the Pastas World shop on Etsy to learn more.
You're listening to I Love This TV Show, The Golden Girls.
Hi, and welcome to the I Love This TV Show podcast. I'm your host, Noelle from pastasworld.com. Each season of this podcast will contain a TV show in full. This means the length of the season depends on the length of the TV show. The first season is, of course, The Golden Girls. Welcome to Episode 2, Season 1, Episode 2, Guess Who's Coming to the Wedding? Dorothy is upset and freaking out, believing her daughter is lost because she gave her bad directions. But Blanche speaks up, saying that she gave Kate the directions. Rose comes out with tea. When she asks where they would like it, Dorothy snaps at her. Dorothy finally calms down enough to sit down. She's anxious about meeting this guy that Kate is bringing home. This is the longest she has gone out with anyone. All she knows about him is that he's a doctor. Blanche gets excited about his profession. The doorbell finally rings and it's Kate. She's by herself. She tells them she has a big announcement. She and Dennis are getting married in the Bahamas in 2 days. Dorothy is thrilled until it hits her. They are getting married in the Bahamas. When Dorothy asks why, Kate tells her it's because Dorothy and Stan are not getting along. Dorothy. Oh, Kate, honey, I have always dreamed of giving you a wedding, ever since I had your overbite fixed. Kate. Don't you think it would be awkward with you and Dad not talking? Dorothy. Now just a minute. I am not the one who ran off to Maui with someone half my age and twice my bra size. Kate. You see what I mean? That's why we're getting married in the Bahamas. Dorothy insists that she get married there at the house. Kate is thrilled to walk down the aisle in a white dress on her father's arm. Dorothy is not thrilled about Stan coming. She agrees to keep the peace. Kate calls him and gives Dorothy the phone to invite him. She invites him, and he agrees to come. His new wife Chrissy can't, though, and Dorothy is thrilled. She hands the phone back to Kate. The girls congratulate her on how well she kept it together. But Dorothy tells them she did so by telling herself that once he was there, he'd be close enough to kill. In the kitchen, Dorothy and Sophia are packing rice into little packets. Rose comes in and asks very seriously to speak with Dorothy and Blanche. Apparently, Sophia has been taking cheese balls. They are interrupted by the doorbell. It's Kate and Dennis the doctor. He's brought Dorothy flowers. Dorothy introduces him to the girls. Sophia hits him up for a freebie, but he's a podiatrist, a foot doctor. They all ask him some general questions, but Sophia asks the big one. How much money do you make? Kate worries her dad won't like him. Dorothy is overjoyed with Dennis. It's now the wedding day. The doorbell rings. Dorothy answers it, sees it's Stan, and immediately slams the door in his face. The doorbell rings again, and she opens it again. Stan thinks maybe she didn't recognize him, and that's why she slammed the door in his face. But she did recognize him, and that is why she slammed the door in his face. She then introduces him to Rose. Dorothy. And speaking of jokes, Stan, that is some toupee you've got. Rose. Oh. Dorothy. Oh, Rose, I'd like you to meet my ex-husband, Stan Zbornak. Rose. Hello. Dorothy. And this is his hair. Rose. It's a pleasure to meet you both. Sophia comes out and points out how bad his toupee looks. Kate comes out in her dress, and Stan is blown away. Stan does something surprising. He credits Dorothy for being an amazing woman for allowing him to be there after what he did. Dorothy does not respond well and starts growling. Stan wants to catch up with Sophia, but she says that her memories of him were wiped out by the stroke. She leaves, and the girls try to calm Dorothy to no effect. She decides to not go to the wedding because she does not want to ruin it. Blanche. Dorothy, are you all right? Rose. Oh, she's a trooper. She'll be fine, won't you, Dorothy? Dorothy. Not until I taste his blood. Blanche loses her temper and orders her to go. It's now the wedding reception back at the house. Dorothy is telling childhood stories about Kate. Stan invites Kate and Dennis to come visit he and Chrissy at their new home in Maui. Meanwhile, Rose has left her post guarding Dorothy to keep Sophia from eating more of the cheese balls. Blanche intervenes and pulls her away from Stan. Dorothy is on the verge of melting down. Stan brings champagne to Blanche and Dorothy. Stan takes another shot at Dorothy with her weight, and Dorothy squeezes Blanche's hand. But then his toast takes another stab at Dorothy, and she squeezes Blanche's hand so hard that Blanche goes down to her knees. They lose track of Dorothy, and Rose suddenly sees her with a knife pointed at Stan. Rose grabs her and shoves her into the kitchen. Rose assumed that she was going to stab Stan. Rose, oh my God, give me that knife. Dorothy, what are you doing? Rose, I can't let you go through with this. Do you want to spend the rest of your life rotting away in some disgusting jail cell, bribing screws for cigarettes and toilet paper? Dorothy, Rose, in Miami, it is not a felony to cut the wedding cake. Rose, cut the Oh, I thought you were going to stab Stan. Dorothy, don't be ridiculous. Do you honestly believe I would stab Stan at my own daughter's wedding? Rose, oh, no, I guess not. Dorothy, well, of course not. I would wait until after the wedding. There are too many witnesses. Dorothy pretends she is going out to kill Stan as she exits the kitchen and nearly gives Rose a heart attack. Dorothy is now hiding in her room. Sophia goes to find her and tells her she's being a jerk. Sophia and Dorothy have a heart-to-heart. Sophia. Dorothy, anger is a lot like a piece of shredded wheat caught under your dentures. If you leave it there, you get a blister, and you gotta eat jello all week. If you get rid of it, the sore heals, and you feel better. Dorothy, anger is like a piece of shredded wheat? Sophia, you want poetry? You listen to Neil Diamond. You want good advice? You listen to your mother. She tells her to talk to Stan and tell him how she feels. Kate and Dennis are getting ready to leave when Dorothy comes back out to give her a hug. Everyone throws rice at the kids as they leave. Stan is about to leave when Dorothy tells him she'd like to talk to him. They go out on the lanai. Stan looks very afraid. Dorothy, let's go where we can have some privacy. Have a seat. Stan, what can I do for you? Dorothy, the first thing you can do is get rid of that ridiculous toupee. I want to speak to the bald guy who left me. The girls sneak into eavesdropping range. On the lanai, Dorothy rips off Stan's toupee. She finally unloads her anger at him. It's an impressive speech that spans their marriage, all the way up to finding out from Stan's legal representative that their marriage was over. She finally gets to tell him goodbye. Dorothy, and I finally get to have what you tried to cheat me out of. I finally get to say goodbye, Stanley. Stan. Look, Dorothy. I said goodbye, Stanley. He leaves, and the girls rush out to check on Dorothy. They try to cheer her up, but she shows them his toupee that he left that she's stuck with. Favorite quotes. Kate. Mom, don't you think it would be just a little awkward with you and Dad not talking? Dorothy. Oh, now just a minute. I'm not the one who ran off to Maui with someone half my age and twice my bra size. Dorothy. I just keep telling myself that once he is here, he would be close enough to kill. Kate. Do you think Dad will like him? Dorothy. Of course, as long as he stays young and nubile. Stan. That's me and Chrissy at a luau. Dorothy. Is she the one with the apple in her mouth? Sophia. He gives me the creeps. He's been following me. They always follow the old people. It's like parking tickets. They have a quota. Some facts that we've learned in this episode about the girls. Dorothy has a daughter named Kate. She is bringing a guy she's been dating over to meet Dorothy, and he's a doctor. Kate's boyfriend's name is Dennis. Kate and Dennis are getting married in the Bahamas. Stan's new wife is named Chrissy. Dennis is a podiatrist, a foot doctor. Stan has a bad toupee, the first of many. Dorothy wants to kill Stan, and who can blame her? Kate played Abraham Lincoln in a third-grade play. Stan has a new house in Maui with Chrissy. Blanche was in a sorority in college. And Dorothy finally gets to say goodbye to Stanley. The main topic of this episode is divorce, and in this case, it's really how it's affected Dorothy, because some divorces are amicable, but in this case, this one was a completely blinding bombshell that still 2, 3, however many years it's been now, she still is not recovered from. And I feel really bad for Dorothy, the way she was treated by Stan. She didn't deserve what she got. That was 38 years of marriage. And he leaves her for a stewardess because she misunderstood some directions. I mean, that's just a major, major betrayal. And then that toupee that he leaves behind, that's disgusting. What a horrific reminder. And I think she actually winds up keeping that in the fridge, which kind of cracks me up. I don't know, maybe that's where you would store a dead rat. Not completely sure. Personally, I'd put it in the garbage can. But it does explain why Kate is clearly more than happy to elope with Dennis, because she knows that it's just going to be all this drama. And she's totally right. But the truth of it is that there are all this drama is because Stan just disappeared. And instead of being a man and saying, Dorothy, I'm leaving you, he let somebody else do it for him. And he hid like a coward, which is really what he always does anyway, as we all know. And so for Dorothy, she finally got to have closure on the end of a 38-year marriage. I mean, that's a huge chunk of life. For some people, that's how many years they've been alive. And some people haven't even been alive that long. Some have been alive much longer than that. But at the same time, that's a long time to be with someone, for them to leave you in that manner. And just to leave you hanging. Closure is important. And he never allowed her to have closure, which is what she really, truly took from this episode. And I don't honestly think she would have done that if Sophia hadn't told that story about the shredded wheat and how it festers. Hopefully, no one listening ever gets any shredded wheat stuck under their dentures. Dorothy, though, did finally get to have her closure and get to say goodbye so that she could finally close that chapter in her life.
It's been great reliving this episode with you. Please check out the podcast website, anchor.fm/I love this TV show, no spaces. You'll be able to see the show notes and also support this podcast. To check out everything I'm up to and nerding about, head over to pastasworld.com. You'll also find additional content there. Thanks for listening, and stay golden.